And Scott has joined from USA. For him, the timing is close to 8 o'clock right now. 8 o'clock morning, not the evening. We are in the evening zone. And so there'll be a welcome note after 7:30, introduction of HR Shaper, announcement of next global webinar and speaker, and then we will welcome our partner also who's supporting us since last three webinar, and then our partner will do the introduction. Welcome, Scott. Good morning.
Good. Good evening.
Yes, yeah, it's a good evening for us.
Welcome once again to this evening of celebrations, the secret of winning in the new abnormal. In conversation with HR Shapers powered by Proventus HR, and we have with us Scott Friedman. A little bit about Proventus HR. We are a bespoke learning advisory firm, and we work a lot with Indian conglomerates on leadership and leadership development. We at Proventus HR believe that people learn best through experiences, exploring, creating, connecting, and interacting with the world and each other, and not just through looking and sitting at the slides. So, Proventus HR is a leading exponent of real life. And what we do in real life is an immersive reflective learning methodology using movies. And we are privileged to host one of the leading motivational humorists today evening, Scott Friedman. Scott Friedman, certified speaking professional and former president of National Speakers Association, speaks on employee innovation, engagement, customer experience, and how to create a happier, healthier workplace. As a motivational humorist, Scott inspires and entertains with fun-filled, interactive, and content-rich programs, a lot of which we will see today. Scott's main area is of expertise is employee innovation, customer experience, and using humor and celebration as a strategic tool. Apart from speaking, Scott spends around 35% of his time in Southeast Asia, and he's very involved in philanthropic projects. Scott co-founded Together We Can Change the World, a foundation focused on anti-trafficking, social business, clean water, and health and education of less fortunate girls and women. And currently, I think they have over 25 projects in 7 Southeast Asian countries. Welcome to Experience Learning, and on this happy note, happy to invite Scott to take over, and would be great to listen to.
If life is crazy and you know it, clap your hands. All right, I think I heard some claps out there. Yeah, it's I think it's pretty crazy all over the world right now, huh? You know, if you're like me, and I know I am, you like to have control over your situations, right? Yeah, and right now, we don't have a lot of control. And we all react and respond different to these crazy pandemic times we find ourselves in. Different levels of stress, anxiety, and pressure. But one thing for sure is that things happen the best for the people that make the best out of the things that happen. So with your permission today, can we have a little bit of fun? Can we just put aside whatever may be going on in our individual lives for a minute to say goodbye to that stress and pressure and laugh a little bit? Sound good? Okay, good. Because laughter is good for you, is it not? I think so. It has no calories, no caffeine, no cholesterol, no MSG, no preservatives, no salt, no sodium, no sugar. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, it's paleo-friendly, and when you laugh, so much of you has a good time. So you have permission to laugh today and to enjoy the session. Okay, sounds good. Neuroscientists remind us that we are put on Earth to minimize danger and to maximize reward. We are really put here to happy dance. But then pain, stress, pressure, COVID-19 sneak in and cause our happy dance a little misstep. So what's the answer to all of this pressure or stress that we may have at any given time in our lives? Well, I think it is vitamin C. Vitamin C as in celebration. Your daily dose will make you more grateful, more joyful, more excited about life. And it will also keep us in step with our community. So as we start to reopen workplaces around the globe, that celebration will be a wonderful tool in this new abnormal. How to win, which will keep us in step with that community. Now my last two books were Celebrate, Lessons Learned from the World's Most Admired Organizations. Follow that up with A Celebration a Day, 365 Ways to a Happier, Healthier Workplace. And in the book, we define celebration as acknowledging all that is good. The good work that you do, the people that you do it with, the people that you do it for. It's when your to-do list becomes your done list. It's celebrating, acknowledging the little and the big milestones along the way. You see, celebration is really just an attitude. It's a philosophy about life. It's the lens through which we see our world. And if you can change your lens, you can change your language, you can change your life. The way that we label our language impacts how we think and how we act. Look at the difference between the word deadline and finish line. I don't want to achieve any goal with the word dead in it. Yeah, we finished right on time on Tuesday, but in the process, Kirk and Erman are dead. It's a heavy price to pay for success, wouldn't you say? Yes. So change the word deadline to finish line. And when you're thinking about the task at hand, focus on the feeling that you will have when you've accomplished the task. That way you don't get stuck in feelings of not being where you need to be. If you just feel the excitement, the passion, that feeling of accomplishment when the task is done, and celebrate, acknowledge those little milestones along the way, your energy will be spent much more productively. All right, your first charge of the day, change the word deadline to finish line as these workplaces open up. Sound good? Good. When we were doing research for the first book, Celebrate, we did research, surveys, interviews in 35 different countries. And 3 things popped up to help engage employees and to make sure that celebration is effective. The first is gratitude, a thankful feeling for the life that we have and those that we share our lives with. Next is play. Play is being able to let go of the negative emotions of anger, resentment, stress, and live in the present moment. It's to positively focus on where we are at that moment and to get excited about the future. It's living in the state of flow or the state of play. It's being. And then the last is surprise, the element of the unexpected. The reason celebration fails in so many organizations today is because it becomes institutionalized. It's creatively catching people doing something good and honoring them with what's highest on their joy list, finding out more about them, finding out what intrinsically motivates them, and customizing our surprise based on who it is that we are honoring in our organizations. So if you look at those 3 words, gratitude, play, and surprise, and you take the first letter of each word, what do we come up with? GPS, good. So my recommendation to you is that you don't get out of bed in the morning without turning on your GPS. I mean, sometimes it's easy, we're excited to go to work or to get up. Other times, and maybe now in times of COVID-19, not so easy. That's when we need to hear. Many of us know her by Siri, that voice. And what does she say?
Recalculating.
Sure enough.
Turn left ahead, and you will have reached your destination.
Uh-huh.
Unless you want to continue being a stupid jerk with a crappy attitude, in which case your destination will be a crappy life. Good luck with that.
Huh. Okay, so Siri has a little bit of an attitude, but she makes a good point. Crappy attitude, crappy life. If you have the attitude of a gratitude, happy life. And this is really the crux of the program today is GPS. How do you keep the GPS turned on? As we go back to work, and we're going to face all kinds of different challenges and obstacles and get used to a new abnormal and then a new normal. How do we keep the GPS turned on? So we need an anchor, emotion, something to remind us when we feel stressed to keep the GPS turned on. Now, the universal sign for play is the old hang loose. All right, I can see I have that magic lens. So give me a little hang loose if you would. All right, this is your new GPS. All right, in Hawaiian, they call this shaka. And shaka means you take care of me, I take care of you. Chill out, relax, live life with a little bit more gratitude. Live in the moment, honor people with what's highest on their joy list. That becomes your new GPS mantra. Sound good? Okay, good. I'm going to ask you a question. The answer is GPS with the motion, like you really mean it. Okay? Okay, here we go. Too much stress? GPS. Life's a mess. GPS. COVID. Duress. GPS. All right, we'll play with this a little as we go along. But GPS, all right? Put it in your minds. Practice a little. If you're there at home, which I'm sure most of you are, if you're on the other side of the world, show whoever may be with you or around, give them a little GPS. Okay, sounds good. All right, gratitude. Gratitude needs to come from the heart and not the head. Abundance flourishes in a grateful heart. I believe your single most important determinant of your future well-being is how well you practice gratitude. And it needs to start from the moment that you wake up in the morning. Ask yourself the question when you wake up, what do I have to be grateful for? You wake up, you check the obituary section, your name's not there. It's going to be a good day. Count your blessings. When you count your blessings, you have so many more blessings to count. What are some of the blessings in the last couple months as we've been locked down around the world? And then before you go to bed, same thing. Count your blessings again. Write down a few things that you're grateful for that happened during the day that you were grateful for. It calms our mind. It helps us be more positive. We sleep better. It's good for the immune system. Your second charge, first one, deadline to finish line, next. Every morning, just for a couple, just even a minute, what do I have to be grateful for? Best of the best. Best of the best. It's from my friend Mary Laverty. Mary Laverty used to start every meal at home when her kids were young with the concept of the best of the best. Before they would have dinner, she would say, okay, what's the best thing that happened at school today? So they would have to search their lives, scan the day for the positive. How many people do we know that scan their lives for the catastrophic and are always talking negatively? This helps you keep you focused on the positive. My mom is 85 years old. If I have dinner with her, which I did last night actually, usually the first game she plays is Guess Who Died Today? Mom, I hate that game. Can we play a different game? Guess who's about to die? No! Let's play a quick round of the best of the best. As you come back to the workplace, what a great way to start every meeting. Just sharing something that you're grateful for. Sharing a best of the best. sharing something good that happened during lockdown. And then as we move forward into the future, it's still a great way to start every meeting. Let's talk about what is working before we talk about challenges, because it creates this positive energy. My favorite game to play, or that I played as I traveled to 38 cities in the US and 10 countries when I was president of the National Speakers Association, was the best of the best. Because it's a great way to find out what people are excited about just by asking, what exciting thing is going on in your life right now? All right, so in the chat box, if you would, let's just do this for a quick 30 seconds, a quick round of the best of the best. As we get back to work, what are you excited about? Or share something you're grateful for that you've had the last couple months. Quick round of the best of the best. Go ahead in your chat box, share at least one thing, share more if you would like. I'll give you a minute. Okay, all kinds of things coming through. I guess when you have close to 500 people, there's going to be a couple. Good. Brazil, connected with those family and friends. I see a lot of family and friends going through there. Give you another about 10 seconds. Oh, listening to you. No. Oh, you just won my heart. That's worth a free book. Whoever just wrote that, send me an email at scott@scottfriedman.net. Hey, you got free books coming your way. Okay. All right. So I challenge you to add a little best of the best to your meetings as you get back to work, to your life. Wonderful as networking receptions. It's a wonderful game to play at family reunions, Deepavali celebrations, all kinds of ways we can use best of the best. But it's wonderful technique, especially when you haven't seen someone for a while and we get back to work here. One of the things that I'm most grateful for is together we can change the world. It's a wonderful gift of gratitude and perspective. As was mentioned, we have about 20 causes, and we're in 7 countries, but really 6 countries. One project in that 7th country. Our mission is to educate and empower less fortunate girls and women in Southeast Asia. And you look at it by my standards, our standards, some of these folks don't have the luxuries that we have gotten used to. And it's such a wonderful blessing that we realize that no matter where we are in life, there's someone that has it a lot worse that's figured out a way to be happy. And someone that has it a lot better that's figured out a way to be miserable. Happiness is an inside job, and it starts with having gratitude, right? Yes, I think so. There's a Harvard psychiatrist who created an app called Track Your Happiness. You can find it in your app store. Wanted to find out when people in life are the most happy. And as you can imagine, the circumstances that would make you happy are good food, dining, spending time with family and friends, exercise, listening to good music. But far more important than those things, and the reason I share this, is happiness comes from the way that we define our experiences, the stories that we tell ourselves about the events of our life. I mean, this is a perfect example as you listen to the different stories of COVID-19. What stories are you telling yourself? And if you want to create a habit of happiness, look at your current circumstances and your past through the eyes of gratitude. If you look through the eyes of anger and resentment, that shows up as anger and resentment in your future. If you look at your current circumstances and your past through the eyes of gratitude, that shows up as hope and faith in your future. You want more happiness? Find gratitude and ask yourself one simple question with any of these challenges that you face in life today. What's the gift? If there was some lesson to learn, some silver lining in all of this, what would that be? When we search for the silver linings, when we look for the gifts, we're focused on the good things. We'll find them if that's where our focus is. What's the gift? Everything has a gift. There's an old Buddhist prayer that states, "Grant that I may be given appropriate difficulties and sufferings on this journey, so that my heart may be truly awakened, and my practice of liberation and universal compassion may be truly filled." For it is felt, if we have no struggles in life, we have no opportunity for genuine growth. How many of you think you have too many opportunities for genuine growth? Especially right about now. Yeah, there's a fair amount of opportunities, right? But see, we can create happiness by practicing gratitude. You see, it's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy. Give me a little GPS for gratitude, if you would, please. Hey, the one person eating dinner, you didn't do it. Come on, put down your fork just for a sec. Okay, good. All right, there you go. Thanks. I appreciate that. Everybody, little GPS. Next is play. Play is being able to accept your current reality, all the expectations and demands that are placed on you and that we place on ourselves, all of the stress, all of the heartache that we have in our lives at any given time, and we all go through heartache. It's being able to accept that and still turn on the old GPS. We interviewed Scott Bemis, a former president and publisher of the Denver Business Journal. Scott had this ritual before they would hire anybody at the Denver Business Journal. He would pop into the last interview and he would say, he says, "If you come to work here at the Denver Business Journal, can we make a deal? Can we agree that this will be the best job you have ever had?" If the answer was yes, even though he knew that they probably didn't know exactly what they were coming into, if the answer was yes, they were still a candidate for that job. If the answer was no, next. All right, what was he trying to find out? You know, we've heard, especially in HR, right? You can hire for attitude, you can teach skills. But do you have the intention that this is more than a job? This is a career that I really want to be happy in. I want to be a team member. I want to contribute. All right, so then whoever they hired for this open position, Scott would have a conversation with him the first day of work. He said, "Hey, remember that chat we had about this being the perfect job? Now we need to make that a reality. There's going to be challenges and obstacles as there is with every job, right?" He says, "But I want to set you up to win. I'm going to be resourceful. I'm going to be accessible. We're going to check in to see how close you are to that perfect job, to your perfect world." And I think as we come back to the workplace, we need to do more of this. It's wonderful to have those conversations because everybody is going to be a little bit up in a different place emotionally. And to know that you're there to support them emotionally, you're there to set them up to win. It's a great opportunity to have those discussions, and I highly recommend it at this time. Play starts with a good sense of humor. How many would say you have a pretty good sense of humor? How many used to have a good sense of humor? How many have never had a sense of humor, but you think there may be some hope? Yeah? Good. There's always good if you have hope. See, a sense of humor is more than the ability to tell jokes, because anyone with a sense of timing and a memory can tell jokes. True test of a sense of humor is your ability to take yourself lightly during tense situations. It's the ability to find something funny in life's inconveniences, like we're going through now. If I wanted my dad to lose his sense of humor when I was growing up, all I would have to do is bring home my report card. Junior high school, he beat me to the mailbox at dinner time, pulls out my report card, says, "Scott, what is this?" I said, "Dad, Dad. It's one person's opinion. Must we discuss it? One person's opinion, huh? How come Andy doesn't get C's and D's on his report card? Andy was one of my best friends growing up. I could never quite measure up. I said, Dad, you can't compare me to Andy. We are so much different. Oh, are you? How are you so much different? I said, Dad, Andy has very bright parents. Took me a long time before I could laugh at that. But we do. We have opportunities to lose our sense of humor every single day, don't we? Probably more opportunities today than most periods in time right now. Siri, what could possibly cause this illustrious group of HR professionals to lose their sense of humor right now in the midst of COVID-19? Anything? Well, what would it be?
Running out of patience, running out of money, running out of talented employees, wondering when school will start up again, wondering when I can come back to work, wondering when this will all be over, not being able to find hand sanitizer, being stuck in the house for what seems like eternity, not being able to enjoy the less crowded streets of India, being in the red zone, the guy at the supermarket coughing on the last head of lettuce, hoping some employees won't come back to work, trying to learn to cook and having to eat my own meals, fear of getting infected, fear of infecting others, fear of losing my mind, the speed of the internet being painfully slow, coming to the realization that I married the wrong man, not knowing if I have a fever or hot flashes, feeling anxiety, staff doing inappropriate posting on Facebook, traffic in India, people violating my space, my mask not matching any of my wardrobe, wishing I could trade in my family for a new puppy.
Oh boy, there are quite a few things that can cause stress. All right, so how do we deal with all this stress? My very first book was a book called Using Humor for a Change. And the premise of the book was the 1-minute humor break. If you look at one of the definitions of humor, humor can be defined as pain, embarrassment, or stress, distanced by time. I mean, think about it. If you look at what caused you stress a year ago or 2 years ago, hopefully that's what we laugh at today. If we go 6 months or a year into the future, hopefully we'll look back at this and have some stories, some causes for laughter. But the 1-minute humor break suggests, as we feel the stress creeping up our back and into our shoulders and our neck, why do we have to wait? Why can't we learn to experience the humor, thus the 1-minute humor break? All right? And I want to just share a couple ideas from the book, and there are a lot of crazy ideas, but that's the point. In order to break the emotional stress pattern, you got to do something that will change it. All right? So, how about celebrating the first stress of the day? All right, let's see. A common stressor for all of us may be computer issues. You can't get on a Zoom call. Your sound's not working. You can't get on at all. How would you normally respond? Technology is going to be the death of me. I can't believe why can't I have faster service? Why is it so slow and streaming? Okay, next time, instead of that, how about computer problems again? Then you treat yourself to Tay Taray and idli sambar, and you get back to work. You have some fun with it. And the point is that stress is not an event. It's a perception of an event. And we can use humor to color our perception of reality. If we can celebrate or laugh at the first stress of the day, we can do the same with the second, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. We can choose our attitude. We can choose how we respond. It's hard and we get reactive, but we don't have to. We can look for those opportunities. Right now, there's a lot of fun opportunities to laugh online. all right, which I want to get to in a second. But first, how about singing your complaints? That's one of my favorite 1-minute humor breaks. All right. So you have a policy. All right. I know things are different. I know that, around here, but no complaining. Oh, okay. You can complain, but you got to sing your complaints. Maybe it sounds something like this. Ayo, ayo. It's back to work we go. A stressful scene. I'd rather quarantine. Ayo, 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 ayo. It's back to work we go. Okay, a children's song, any kind of nursery rhyme, something that one of your favorite songs. Write little song parodies, little ditties. Again, it breaks that emotional stress and changes our reactive patterns to how we respond to the things, or how we react to the things in our lives. All right, I mentioned online humor. I have a group at Facebook called Celebration at Work. You can check it out. Normally on any given year, I share studies, I share ideas, a little bit of humor on how to create a happier, healthier workplace. Many of the ideas come from my books, but in the last few months, I've focused more on the humor of the situation and not taking it lightly. It's just people are dying all over the world, and it hurts the heart. But we still, we need to have sympathy and empathy, and at the same time, we need to find the humor that helps us go on. And that's why I focus more on the humor at this time, because we need it more than ever. So I just want to share a few quick ones with you that I've posted here in the last couple months. 2020, written by Stephen King, directed by Quentin Tarantino. That's a fun one. Yeah, there you go. That's a good reminder. Wear your masks when you go out. Mary, do you accept John as your lawfully wedded husband? If you do, press enter. If you don't, press escape. Does that look like your strategic cleanup for your Zoom calls? All right. So we set up a Zoom room here so that it's pretty clean, actually. Social distancing myself from the refrigerator so I can flatten my curve. Beware, me and my husband went to Costco, fill in whatever would be for you. Today, wearing our masks. When we got back home and took the masks off, it was not my husband. Was it an upgrade? That's the key, really, right there. Okay, this may be true for the States. I'm not sure about India. Government reopening guidelines. Not quite clear how to follow that exactly, right? Yeah. Mom, how do I stop the class video call? Help! I'm having a quarantine party this weekend. None of you are invited. If you keep a glass of wine in each hand, you can't touch your face. Here's a strategy. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. The best medicine of all, stay positive. Take it. Love this one, Tibetan proverb. The secret to living well and longer is eat half, walk double, laugh triple, and love without measure. Right? So play a little with that. Right? And it doesn't matter what the strategy is as long as you're doing something. There's some great online humor, but the 1-minute humor break provides you that emotional distance away from the problem. Right? The highest form of humor is the ability to laugh at yourself. The lowest form is making somebody else the brunt of the joke. But if you can laugh at yourself, in a sense, what you're saying is you accept your flaws and your foolishness and your imperfections, and then people can't laugh at you. They have to laugh with you. Jack Welch, former CEO, passed away recently. He said he created this amazing learning environment at General Electric by teaching his employees to take their work seriously, but to take themselves lightly. Great advice. Take yourself lightly. Planned spontaneity sounds like an oxymoron, but it's a wonderful form of humor that we can bring to the workplace and our lives. Planned spontaneity, it reminds us to be ready to play, to, instead of getting reactive, again, that 1 minute humor break idea, or it's just having a clever comeback, to look at things a little bit differently through comic eyes. Me and a buddy are watching a speaker falls off the stage. My friend turns to me and says, "Hey, what would you say right now if you fell off a stage?" I thought about it for a quick minute. I said, probably say something like, "Don't mind me, it's just a stage I'm going through." I said, "What would you say?" He said, "I will now take questions from the floor." So the next time I fall off a stage, I'm going with his. I will now take questions from the floor, because it's a lot funnier, all right? So let's look for clever comebacks. Have you ever been to a dinner party and you're at somebody's house and you're in the bathroom? Somebody rattles the door to get in. Normally you'd say what? "I'm in here, be out in a minute." Next time, try this. "Come in. I've been waiting." You want to spice up a dinner party? That will spice up a dinner party. All right? Look for opportunities to be a little bit more playful. But remember, be respectful. All right? And the highest form of humor is the ability to poke fun at ourselves, to bring the humor back on us. But why not add a little planned spontaneity and lighten up the workplace just a little bit? 2 important questions. Question number 1, have you decided you want it to be fun? I know that's a tough question at this time. Is it appropriate for it to be fun? You bet it is. We're going through a lot of stress and pressure. We're going to laugh at this, hopefully. We're going to come back to this time in 3 or 4 years and say, "Boy, I wish I would have a little bit more time at home." Right? But let's make it fun. Let's make this re-entry more fun. And then the next question is, because we don't want to go through life like this little kid, right? Next question is, what are we doing to make it more fun? What are you doing to make it more fun? We need to get creative, looking for ways that we can add more fun. We interviewed Design Force. They're a creative group out of Denver, and they have what's called Toss It Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, the company provides lettuce, right? And then everybody brings in 1 or 2 items for the salad. So you have basically a salad buffet. And during that time, they know that they're going to have to come up with one way to add value to the employee experience or the customer experience, right? So they're looking for things that how they interact with their favorite brands since the last week. Maybe shows that they've watched, or books that they've read, or if they've been to a play, but they need to come up with at least one idea how to add value to that employer customer experience. I think it's a great thing to do as we come back to work and we're navigating together. What if we did Toss It Tuesdays? All right, given now where we're at, how can we add more value to the lives of our employees? What can we do with that employee journey? Let's solve this together. If you open it up, if you create celebration groups, give people a chance to talk. That's one way they overcome their fear, is to open up that communication channel. It's a great thing. I highly recommend it. See, the best way to come up with a good idea is to come up with lots of good ideas. One of my favorite parts of the book, the first book, Celebrate, was the idea of celebrating mistakes. And I think it's more important than it's ever been right now, because we need to take risks, intelligent risks, as we figure this out together, what the future of work really looks like. So one example that I think is pertinent for right now is what we practice here that came through in our interviews, is the idea of the wine, wow Friday. It starts about 3:30 on a Friday afternoon with beverage of choice. All right. Now, if you're in a workplace where maybe you can have alcohol, great. If that's good. If not, take off the alcohol. But what would be your favorite beverage of choice? All right. And then a wine. The wine is what didn't work so well this week. What did we learn from a mistake that we made, a misstep that we took? Let's open up and talk about it before we go away for the weekend. And then the wow is, let's celebrate something good, a best of the best. What did we do well? What did we learn? How do we come closer together? A wine, wow Friday. What a great way to start off your Fridays. How many have seen The Shawshank Redemption? Give me a thumbs up if you have. Great movie, I highly recommend it. Two main characters in the movie, Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins. Morgan Freeman is Red, Tim Robbins is Andy. As the movie gets on a ways, Red and Andy are having one of those heart-to-heart conversations in the prison yard. Red is sharing his fear of the future. He's been in prison nearly 40 years. He's up for parole for the third time, but this time, it really looks like he's going to get out. He's scared to death. He doesn't know what it's like on the outside anymore. He's lost all hope. Andy turns to him and he says this. He said, it all comes down to a simple choice. You either get busy living or you get busy dying. Great advice as we approach the future, right? There's so many ways we can re-enter work again. We can fear it. We can ignore it. We can just deny what's going on, or we can accept it. We can imagine it. But the best way to predict the future is to create it by making good choices, learning from our choices, and making new choices. Asking ourselves the question, as we rush to return back to the new normal, which parts of normal shall I never return back to? Right? It's an opportunity to rewrite the future and do things right, and all the gifts, all the lessons we've learned up to this point, let's figure out a way to move forward together with kindness and love and make sure that this works. Right? What don't we need to return back to? What's this? Oh yeah.
This is your pilot speaking. My name is Adrian Oberhensli. I'm working from home today.
Surprise! All right, so that's the third is surprise. Give me a little GPS for surprise, and now that we say goodbye to play. Okay, surprise. Surprise is the element of the unexpected. It's lifting them up, not letting them down. How can we honor people? How can we show them more kindness? How can we look for opportunities to provide gifts, whether it's just through the way that we treat people or finding out what their favorite candy is, what their favorite snack is, coffee, whatever. How can we give them, how can we make them happier? How can we really take care of our own people? This is the Taj Samadra Hotel in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Had the great fortune of speaking there a few years back, and I check into my room, and right on my bedside table after check-in was this photo. This is a photo of me and 8 kids that were rescued from Myanmar that live in a home that Together We Can Change the World built between Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, Thailand in Luang Prabang. So here I am halfway around the world from me, close to you, and most of you that are in India. And here I am, see this photo in a picture, in a nice picture from him. I'm thinking, how do they even know about Together We Can Change the World? How do we find out about anybody today? Check out their Instagram or their Facebook, right? All right, Google. I mean, it's amazing what we can find out about people today. So now anything that happens from this point on, it doesn't even matter because of the photo. Let's just say food poisoning from what I had in the restaurant. Couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. Doesn't matter, I got the photo. Let's say that only cold running water. Who cares, I have the photo. Let's say bad internet, I can't receive or send any kind of emails. Okay, that's pushing it. That is over the line. But point is that by surprising people with something that creates joy like this did for me, it creates that emotional bond, immediate connection. So how can we do that? Photos are a wonderful way. In fact, I adopted the policy of the mugshot surprise. I love to put photos on a coffee mug, and there's lots of services that do it here in the US. I'm sure they do it in your country as well. And then I surprise them. This was a good example. This is my friend Deb in the white dress. She is also a speaker, lives here in Colorado. That is her daughter, Sarah, on what is that, Deb's right there. That's her wedding day with her husband, Eric, on the other side, and Steve's husband. Deb's husband, Steve. So I see that on Facebook. I'm like, oh man, that is such a cool picture. I put it on a mug. Deb and I are in a meeting in Keystone, Colorado. I had served her coffee in that mug. Took her about 30 minutes to realize what was going on. She looks at that mug and she goes, I go, what? She goes, look at this mug. That's from Sarah's wedding. She goes, the nerve of that photographer for promotional purposes to exploit my family with Sarah's wedding. I go, Deb, maybe it didn't happen just that way. And of course, I told her the story and we had a great laugh. But what a wonderful way. What a wonderful way to connect, to surprise people. We can do it, the Royal Plaza on Scott's in Singapore. What a wonderful job they do of surprising their guests. If they're celebrating a 25-year anniversary or 50-year, they try to find the photo. They do a lot of detective work and they'll put it on a mug or t-shirts for the family that are coming to stay. And it's just always an immediate connector. Wonderful way to engage guests. And they do it with their employees as well. Highly recommend doing something similar. You see, at the end of the day, the quality of life is really determined by the quality of our relationships. And men and women are so much different about relationships, aren't they? Two women haven't seen each other for a long time. How do they respond? It's you, I can't believe it's you. Honey, who was that lady? Oh, some lady I met at a cricket match a couple years ago. For the life of me, I can't remember her name. Two guys haven't seen each other for a long time. How do they respond? Honey, who was that guy? That was Frank. You remember Frank? Frank is the guy that gave me the kidney. Thanks again, Frank. Here. Remember when you were young and your mom says, honey, it's much better to give than receive, and you're thinking, is she nuts? But then you got involved in a cause and you realize what Albert Schweitzer said is right. He said he doesn't know what your future will bring, but what he does know is that those of us that will truly be the most happy are the ones that have sought and found a way to serve. Luciano de Crescenza said, we are all angels, but with only one wing. And only by embracing each other, we fly. Isn't that really the role of HR today? As we look at the future of work and how we get people back to the workplace and make it positive and productive, aren't we really there to help our employees fly? Thanks for all the good you do in helping others fly. Okay, before we finish, or I guess we just finished, I would like to offer these 3 books as a thank you to HR Shapers and to Proventus for having me today. If you would like a free book, just send me an email at scott@scottfriedman.net. All right, you see the correct spelling of Friedman down below, scott@scottfriedman.net. Ask me for 1, 2, or all 3 of those books, and I will provide you an electronic copy of those books. All right? Thank you very much for listening, and I think we're going to open it up for a few questions. I'll turn it back over to RK.
Thank you, Scott. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you sound good.
Yes, thank you, Scott. So wonderful insight. Yeah, we were getting relief, most of the time, and this is related to humor. I just posted one post on social media also. Most of the time, humor or gossip, we call it. It gives a lot of good ideas. it can lead to solution of some very big and critical problem. So some or most of the time you need to stay in the humor and see how does it work. Great session, Scott. We'll start the Q&A now. Okay, RK, let's take those HR leader in the speaker box. So Scott, we have 6 HR leader who accepted our invitation to be come on the screen with us. So they are from Bahrain. They will introduce in a short, very short introduction. So we have people from India. We have 2 people from India, one from Colombo, one from USA, one from Nigeria, and one from Bahrain. So let me ask one question. Meanwhile, all the HR leader, please be ready with your question coming in the chat box. Okay, question should not be repetitive, because if you are asking one question, it might happen, another HR leader may be asking the same question. So be careful with that. To start my first question, which can be big relief for each one of us. Which is the movie you suggest to watch to release the pressure or stress, when we are in a lot of troubles?
I've been watching a fair amount of comedy on Netflix these days. So whatever, if you have a favorite comedian, that would be it's a great way to laugh and to relieve stress that way. Of course, the Rocky movie is a wonderful, triumph kind of movie. But I think comedy is another one, just a great release. And just to log on to a Netflix and put in comedy, and you'll come up with some great suggestions.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me now request all my HR leaders. So let's begin. Anybody who's ready with the question, please introduce yourself, your name, designation, company, and you are from which countries, and start your question. Pick up the question from chat box.
Sure, I can go first, Ashish, if that's fine.
Yes.
Hi, Scott. Thank you so much. This is Rahul from Bahrain. And I work here at a company called Havelock One as a director HR. Amazing session, and thank you so much. GPS was impactful, superb. It's like a small capsule which can go a big way. There's a lot of questions coming. I think the one which I have selected, I think many of us can relate to it, is this is from Nigeria actually. Mr. Kingsley from Nigeria, he has asked this. I'll just read it out his question. He's saying that in Nigeria at this moment, there are lots of job losses, salary slashes, bills are piling up and all. And there is, it's a difficult situation. And how does one maintain a GPS in this kind of situation?
Well, and that's the beauty of the GPS, is that under play, whatever's happening in your life. I mean, and I don't mean to downplay the pain, the stress that people are going through it. I mean, we've had higher unemployment in the U.S. since the Great Depression right now. But it's all where we focus our energy. We can sit and we can feel sorry for ourselves and throw ourselves a self-pity party for not having a job, or we can get creative. We can focus on what we want our lives to look like. In a perfect world, what kind of job would we have? And then give ourselves permission not to live in stress. Maybe every day you let yourself worry for 10 minutes. You write down all the things that you worry about, you get it out, and you say, okay, that's it. I've had my 10 minutes today. Now I'm going to be positive and productive on looking for what I want and being grateful for the things that I have in my life. So it's just back to focus and that's why the GPS is so important, because if your focus is there, then you'll find the good.
True. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
This is Thilan. Yes, I'm Thilan. I'm the head of HR of Midas Safety Sri Lanka. We are a manufacturing firm. We manufacture gloves and export to Europe and the US mainly. And then we have about 3,000 employees. We have 3 manufacturing facilities in Sri Lanka. And then quite happy to hear the session. And it was very insightful, very interesting, and then quite relevant to today's context, Scott. My question would be, how do you apply humor in the corporate context, especially under the current situation? And then how can we relate it to employee engagement and the learning and development?
It starts with the highest form of humor, as I mentioned, is the ability to laugh at yourself. So if we can model that, I mentioned the planned spontaneity. The planned spontaneity is basically you look for opportunities to take yourself more lightly, to add in comments that we wouldn't. So instead of going to our reactive stress pattern and just reacting to the situation, especially in a stressful situation, is there a way to be playful? And if we can add some humor type ritual to the work, I mean, as silly as that sing your complaint sounded, what happens is in times of crisis, their negativity goes up in organizations and it creates disengagement. And so something as simple as having to sing your complaints, as silly as that seems, just the fact that you play a little with it creates that engagement and adds in a little bit of a humor component. So it's getting together with, finding out those that have a positive attitude that are known to be playful, and invite people to come in and like on a Tuesday or the Toss It Tuesdays, or you create that little celebration group and come up with ways that make sense, that fit the culture, that's not too big of a stretch, like possibly the ideas that I mentioned. In my book, Celebration of Day 365 Days to a Happier, Healthier Workplace, there's a fair amount of ideas in there, some rituals. If you send me a note at scott@scottfriedman.net, be happy to send you that book, and there you can find some ideas.
Scott, this is Ralston here.
Hi, Ralston.
Hi. Firstly, thanks a lot for sharing your thoughts. I think they're very, very insightful, for each of us to individually mull on. But I'm conscious that we are a bunch of HR colleagues over here. So the question is really tuned towards certain things around HR. But let me quickly introduce myself first. So I support. I'm a vice president HR with Barclays in India. Yeah, and so one of the questions that comes to my mind is, the fact that organizations are going the whole 9 yards, right, to make changes, for employees, spanning across GPS, right, that you kind of mentioned. And this sometimes gives, way to something called change fatigue. So what is it that organizations can do, or how can organizations respond to kind of try and reduce, employees' risk of change fatigue?
Well, I think that by over-communicating, by communicating all the changes, and then the organizations that show compassion, that have town hall meetings and giving people a voice, more so than ever now, it's the employees need to be heard, because there's so much emotion and so different levels of emotion, and there's no guarantees that things aren't going to. I mean, we are in the most rapid period of change that we've ever been in right now. So unfortunately, there is going to be some of that change fatigue, and the best way, I think, is just to open it up and say, hey, we're going through this together, and help define the future and give ownership. And that's through kindness and compassion, and giving the employees more of a voice, and make sure that they're heard, and then follow up with whatever those suggestions may be.
Thank you, Scott.
Hi, Scott. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's Satya from India. I'm working in Tata Projects as manager HR. It was quite engaging and insightful session. So from my perspective, I would like to ask one question. So what are the different type of strategy that we need to implement post-COVID scenario in our organization? Because see, happiness is somewhat missing there. People are talking about, yes, we are engaged, but we are not that much happy. So according to you, so what are the simplest and the most effective way that we can also implement in our organization?
Well, I tried to share some of the most simple ideas, like the best of the best is a very simple way of keeping people focused on the positive. One idea that I didn't talk about is the very simple idea of a Post-it note. with just a simple, colorful pad of Post-its and a pen, we can basically give our own little awards. Just reminding people, hey, thanks so much for staying positive at this time, or for your good ideas about this, or and just so honoring people a little bit more for what they know. I mean, or how they want to be honored, what we know about them is what I meant to say there. So by personalizing, by customizing, by learning more about our employees, then we can better create more of a unified, connected culture.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to ask another question to you. So you provide hope and help through your various causes over 7 Southeast Asian countries. So what's your plan for India through your initiative? We would like to know about from Indian perspective.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Where we have talked about India, and it seems like it's just it's almost overwhelming how much good we could do in India. So our next country is Vietnam, that we're going to move into eventually, and then hopefully one day India. But if there was an event that we were over in Southeast Asia and we were invited to speak, then we would probably come up with some ways to make a difference and pick a few causes. But thanks for the question.
My pleasure. Thanks.
So here we go. So there are 4 questions being asked. Actually, now we have two female ladies always first, but in this scenario they are last. So over to both of you ladies, Annette and Yeka.
Hi Scott, this is Annette.
Hello, Annette.
How are you doing?
Great.
Nice to meet you too. So thank you. That was a very nice session, Scott. I work with Sweetwater Franchise Group LLC. They are into the food business, very severely impacted by the COVID situation here. Thankfully, from the context of numbers, Houston, Texas is not as badly impacted as the other side of the US. However, yes, I think acceptance of a situation comes even before gratitude. I think when people really accept what's happening in their life, they learn to kind of be thankful for whatever's happening in their life, and then the play and the surprise follow. My question to you, Scott, is with regards to the current situation that we're facing in the United States of America following, the death of
George Floyd,
and you have a diverse workforce in America. You have whites and blacks working together. How do you think GPS comes into play when you have a diverse workforce in your organization following something of the magnitude that has recently happened?
As we talked about giving folks a voice, I mean, one possible way to do that would be on your Toss It Tuesdays. Instead of doing a Toss It Tuesday, do it where you have a chance to bring in a native food of something that would be indigenous to your culture, so that we can learn more about who you are through food. Because food is one of the universal connectors that really connect us all. It seems all over the world, especially it seems in India and Southeast Asia. So it's a great way. Another idea is a re-gifting party. So a re-gifting party is where you bring something that means something to you about your upbringing or tells a story about you, and you get to share that. So you bring something to re-gift. Other employees bring something to re-gift, and then you tell the story about what it means to you. So basically, it creates more understanding about who you are, so that instead of just being colleagues that we're working with, we get to know each other better. And then that's the whole concept behind surprise is we need to learn about people. We need to know what intrinsically motivates them. The more we know about them, the more about their family, about their habits, about what they like to eat, the more we can honor them, the more we can honor diversity in the workplace. And so I think by a potluck where everybody has a chance to bring a special dish and then tell the story of that dish is a great way to normalize the diversity in a workplace.
Thank you, Scott. Great insights. Great ideas.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, my name is Adenka.
Hello.
Hi, I'm speaking from Nigeria. Nice to meet you. I work with Max.ng, an e-mobility company in Africa here. And then, yes, there's been a lot of impact in terms of business impact, but yes, we're pulling strong and encouraging employees. But my question today, I had a question, and one of the attendees also asked a question. How do you spread GPS in a culture where your boss is a workaholic, and typically you cannot just laugh, right? There's sometimes you're just laughing and your boss is like, are you supposed to be excited when the business is running down? Like, what's wrong with you? So how do you cope with that how do you spread GPS in such environment?
If you start small, like this, the suggestion of, hey, if you want to, and again, of course, if you can share some studies of how these things really work and bring more engagement and how engagement leads to more productivity, then that you get more buy-in, that it really does impact the bottom line. But if you can start small with a best of the best, where you can say, hey, can we just share something positive to start with? But because even though times are tough and our numbers are down, it's so important to be positive, and here's the statistics that show that and why we need to. So you start small with the best of the best and maybe a few other ideas from the book. And then the whole gratitude. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of negative workplaces out there. And so the nice thing about the GPS is even if we're in a negative workplace, we can still have gratitude. We can still live in the moment. We can be ambassadors of kindness. We can still honor people. So, and then we just have to model that. And hopefully through our own crusade and through giving people a voice and honoring them and being kind, that maybe we can change the workplace. And if not, maybe we need to change our workplace if there's nothing you can possibly do about it. But I would start small and the less risky examples, like a best of the best. And most of the ideas that I espouse are very little money, handwritten thank you notes. I mean, the simple things that just honor people, let them know that we care, show a little bit more compassion.
Thanks, Scott. We are also running out of time, I think, because 15 minutes we already shooted. But yeah, RK, please ask your question, then we can wind up the session.
Thank you, Ashish. Scott, great talk. Very, very engaging. I saw many participants completely engrossed in the session and some brilliant questions. And the questions actually show how much they were immersed in a conversation, and that fact that they were really thinking about it. And a very common theme that came, which Edinka kind of picked up, is each one of the young professionals who was there on the talk today was in a way struggling as to humor in the workplace sounds like a nice concept, but we are serious-minded business executives. In the organization is a premium on stern, mature demeanor, and not all have a good sense of humor or a funny bone. And then how do I kind of, as a youngster, go around and be able to articulate what my humor is and yet be able to be accepted as a serious business executive, as a serious professional who's capable and competent. So while you answered part of it, Scott, the kind of question I'm asking is how do I bring people out of that little hitch that they may have? So while there are certain actions that they can do, but the movement from inwards to outwards is something that I think most of us would be struggling with, and that's something that I can see in the questions.
Well, it starts inwards. So I think if you have the attitude like, it's just not our workplace, that's not our culture. I mean, we're a serious culture and it's not going to work here. Just that having that attitude is going to be tough, because then you're not going to believe it yourself. So first, submit the highest form of humor is the ability to laugh at yourself, is to take yourself lightly, to take your work serious, because we do important stuff, but to take yourself lightly. So that's where it starts. And then, it's just the baby steps. If we can just institute this one little thing, the singing your complaints. I mean, that's kind of a stretch. I mean, that probably wouldn't work in a lot of workplaces, but so what would work? What wouldn't be what wouldn't be that difficult? That would exemplify play that would work in your workplace. And I'm trying to think of something that would not be, to celebrate the first stress of the day, or the chapter on celebrating mistakes is just the one company we talked about in the book is every sales meeting they put a $50 bill on the table, and the sales manager will share a mistake that she made since the last time they met. And then they'll go around in a circle, all the sales agents will share a mistake they made, and whoever made the biggest mistake, learned the greatest lesson, takes the $50. If you win 3 times in a row, you're fired. No, just kidding. But that way, all of a sudden, making mistakes doesn't seem such a huge catastrophe anymore. And it opens people up a little bit. I mean, I think the town hall meetings, and it starts at the top. Attitude flows downhill. So there has to be buy-in for that kind of behavior, or those. But if you can start small and just give people a voice, or even something simple as a suggestion box, and then you get back to people whatever they put in there, and then you honor that. So if you can show the leaders of the association, the C-suite, that hey, this is your voice of your employees. Listen. Let's come up with ways, and then involve your employees. Then your chances are a lot greater.
Thank you, Scott. Great. Anybody else? Any questions, panelists? If you want to ask while we're waiting for Ashish to come back online.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yep.
I'm here. Sorry.
There he is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, what I was saying, Rahul, be ready to give a vote of thanks. And Scott, I was saying go for a copyright of GPS. Yeah, you never know, because people are using GPS, and that's really good term. It's easy to remember, and it can relate to a lot of many things actually. Yeah, and guys, everyone, those who are on call, we still have almost 175 people, up to 300 people, or up to 400 people join. And let me tell you, Scott is very approachable. He's there on the Facebook. You can ping him anytime. Just send a friend request. I already posted the email ID, so send an email to him as well. And Scott is global traveler. I know this is the time people not able to travel, but he's keep on traveling to especially Southeast Asia. He does lot of programs there, global keynote, along with Dev and other people, So he does lot of seminar. He's there in India. I have seen him World HRD Congress as well. Right, Scott? Yeah.
Right.
And you can talk to him for further engagement in case you are keen. Together we can change the world is very good website. Please visit. And in case you want to contribute, do that. I am doing some sales speech. That's perfectly fine. But if those who are doing the good work, we should appreciate. Okay, so I thanks RK for supporting this, and I hand over to Rahul now. Rahul, please give a vote of thanks, and we can wind up here.
Sure, thanks Ashish. Scott, on behalf of everyone, I think panelists, Ashish, HR shapers, and most importantly, all the participants. Sure, I think I heard 300 plus. So thank you so much for your time. I guess it was quite early for you in the morning, but you made it. So it is really, we all are grateful for the insights. I think it will go a long way. Yes, the situation is not the way we would like it to be, but all these tips would be definitely a great help, and all the tips as well. Panelists, thank you so much for all your questions, and I think it was a great session, actually. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Great being with you all.
And thanks all HR leader to be part of this. Thank you so much. Thanks RK. Thanks Scott. We'll be in touch anytime. You can reach out to me. We would be able to help as much as possible.
Thank you.
Be safe. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Scott, thank
Bye bye,
you.
everyone.